Hello everyone, my name is Ivan Haigh. I'm an associate professor here at the University of Southampton, and over the next 5 weeks I'll be taking over from Alan and teaching the next part of this course. Now, first of all, I hope you are all well. These are very trying times for all of us. Like you, I'm sat in my little room at home. I've been there since the 20th of March trying to homeschool my daughter, and thankfully my daughter's back at school, but I'm still sat in a tiny little office at home trying to work, trying to focus along with everything else that's going on. But I hope you are well, and I think we just have to make the most and try the best we can. So I, like all academics at the University of Southampton, I teach and I do research, and I have other responsibilities as well. In terms of my teaching, I teach the second year module, Coast and Estuaries, or Coastal Processes now. I also teach a fourth year module called Sea Level Rise and Coastal Flooding, for those of you who go on to do the MSci. In terms of my research, my speciality is coastal oceanography, particularly sea level rise and coastal flooding. I have a number of big projects going on at the moment. I'm looking at flooding in the Mekong Delta in Vietnam. I've got another big project working with the Thames Barrier, looking at sort of sea level rise and coastal flooding in Europe. I have 5 or 6 PhD students working with me, many of them looking at sea level rise, one of them looking at sort of flooding on small islands, particularly the Solomon Islands. So over the next 5 weeks, we're going to be scaling up. So far in Alan's material, you've looked at sort of small scale processes. You've looked at sort of sediment, grain size, sorting, where that comes from. You've then looked at water, but on a small scale, particularly turbulence, and then you've considered how kind of water affects sediment. But in the next 5 weeks, we're going to really scale up. And to start with, this week, in week 1, we're going to be looking at the coast and why it's important. I'll come back to that in a minute. Later in week 1, we're going to then move to coastal processes. And over the next 3 weeks, we're going to look at storms and waves this week. Next week, we're going to look at tides. The week after, we're going to look at storm surges and coastal flooding. And then in the final 2 weeks you have with me, we're going to look at different coastal environments. We're going to look at beaches and barriers. This is where I am at the moment, and estuaries. And then the week after, we're going to look at rocky coasts. You can see the Isle of Wight and the Needles there. So we're going to focus on that in one of the lectures. And then we're going to look at coral coastlines as well. So a mixture of coastal processes and coastal environments. So this week, like every week, we're going to start with a definition video. So what is the coast? Why is it important? And then we're going to move on and have 3 or 4 other sort of short 10 to 15 minute videos. So this week, we're going to be looking at coasts. What is the coast? What is the coastal system? Why is it important? We're going to look at the multiple stresses the coastline faces, particularly from growing populations. And then we're going to be looking at the multiple drivers and the incredibly dynamic nature of the coast. And then in the second half of the week, we're going to start our coastal process. We're going to be looking at storms and the role they play in shaping the coastline, particularly through waves. So that will be this week. So if I can help you in any way, please let me know. But what I'd suggest you do is you start by watching these videos between Monday and Thursday lunchtime. If you have any questions, please send me an email. But every Thursday between 4 and 6 in the UK, I don't know, those of you joining other times of the world, what that time is where you are. But we're going to then have a sort of interactive discussion session. I'll always start the sessions by giving you a little short recap of the material, and we'll be doing a quiz as well. But then I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, and hopefully we'll have some really interesting discussions in that as well. I'd really encourage you to take part. Don't just sit silently. Please do put your hand up, switch your microphone on. Feel free to ask me questions. Feel free to sort of interact with me. Okay, well, as I said before, stay well, and I'll look forward to speaking to you in person on Thursday.